Welcome to Peppershock Media's Marketing Expedition podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in marketing and advertising. Now here's your host, Ray Allen.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast. I'm your host, Ray Allen, President and CEO of Peppershock Media. And today I have a special person on our show. She's not only my sister-in-law, Nikki Koontz. She is also the Executive Director of Marketing Communications for Southern Utah University. And in her role, she's responsible for building and maintaining and protecting SUU's reputation and brand strategy. She has experience in public relations, crisis management, recruitment, advertising, video production, social media, and content development. And most of all, importantly, she is the aunt to my boys and the sister to my husband. But previous to her employment at SUU, she was the media and PR manager of the Utah Shakespeare Festival for more than 4 years. And she's been an adjunct professor for SUU Arts Department and in the program in 2014. And she teaches courses on marketing, digital strategy, and event planning. And she was the Hilberry Theater Fellowship recipient and earned her MFA in theater management at Wayne State University in Detroit. And she holds a BA in theater from Cal State Fullerton. Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. What a great introduction.
Yes, I know. I'm super proud of my sister-in-law, so that's awesome. And
Thanks.
Recently, a mom, right?
Yeah. It doesn't feel as recent. He's a year and a half now.
Well, it seems recent to me. That's true.
Yeah. No, but those are all really proud titles that I wear. Mom, aunt, marketer, sister-in-law, all of the above.
Oh, that's good. Good. So, Nikki, let's share with our listeners, just tell me about the path that got you to where you are now as the marketing director, communications at Southern Utah University. Start from, give us the path or the journey that you went on to get here.
Sure. It's definitely not a linear path. When I was growing up, I loved theater and plays and make-believe, and I always thought that I was going to be on the stage, and that's why in my background you'll hear a lot of like theater. So I went in Idaho, went to Cal State Fullerton to get my bachelor's degree, and I had a really wonderful mentor in college, Jim Boltz. He taught a theater management class and did marketing for the university theater department, and he kind of took me under his wing. I was like, you have a passion for storytelling and plays and theater, but maybe being on the stage isn't the best path for you. But perhaps like administration and management and leadership is more like your calling. So he really steered me towards arts administration and theater management, which led me to Detroit, and I was there for a few years. I specialized in marketing the arts, and right after I got my MFA, I moved to Utah, to Cedar City, and started working for the Utah Shakespeare Festival, which at the time I started during their 50th anniversary season, and next year will be their 60th anniversary, which is crazy to think about.
Wow.
And I had a great time there. Yeah, I really, really loved working at the Shakespeare Festival. Some really, really wonderful people there. They do world-class theater in a tiny, small, rural town in southern Utah. I mean, it's just, you wouldn't put those two things together.
It's a destination location, right? You have to pull people in from all over to get them there, huh?
Yeah, and we have a small airport that has 2 flights a day, but it is not, Cedar City is not someplace that's relatively easy to get to. And so again, the fact that they draw hundreds and thousands of people every year to the festival, it's pretty remarkable. And then I kind of got recruited and poached to Southern Utah University to be the marketing director. Well, at the time I was the assistant director, and I've been the executive director for 2 years now. That's kind of the short end of the journey.
Coming to visit you, and they built this brand new beautiful space for Shakespeare Festival, and I was just in awe looking at where they came from to where now they are in what they're doing now, right? And so, and now being a part of the university, because they're tied together, right? The Shakespeare Festival and SU.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. The Shakespeare Festival essentially is a quote unquote department or branch of SUU. But they are a professional theater company that draws equity actors from across the country. They started out, I think, with like a $3,000 budget in '61, and have just expanded and grown. And in 2016, they built the Beverly Taylor Sorensen Center for the Arts. So there's a brand new outdoor theater, a small black box space. The Southern Utah Museum of Art is on the center, a costume shop, office spaces. So it really is something really special. And SUU is really, really proud to have kind of that claim to fame. It brings in so many visitors, lots of, students during their high school Shakespeare competition. So it's a great marketing and recruitment tool now for the university.
Absolutely. And speaking of recruitment tools, there's other things that the university is pretty well known for too, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of programs that have expanded and put us on the map. Our aviation program, that's relatively new, but we have one of the best aviation programs in the country because we're at such high elevation. Pilots get a really broad range of training. We're known for our nursing program. And then the one that's really near and dear to my heart is our outdoor rec program. A couple of years ago, we trademarked the title University of the Parks and competed in a couple of national outdoor competitions, Outdoor Nation, and we won 2 years in a row. Yeah. So it's really, we have over 20 different national parks and monuments within a 5-hour drive of campus. It's so easy to get outside. We have trails all over Cedar City, and not just hiking, but biking and rock climbing and rappelling. In 40 minutes down south, you can hit the lake and go paddle boarding and boating and swimming. And so there's just a lot of recreational opportunities out here, which is great because that's my husband's field, is outdoor rec, and he teaches for the program and works in the outdoor engagement center. So we're really lucky. We've really found kind of our niche here. There's the arts, the outdoors, there's the university. It's a really nice trifecta for us.
It's just beautiful to go see all the things that are there, and Zion's National Park's not too far away either, and Cedar Briggs is right up the hill. And it's the beautiful rock and just scenery, right?
Yeah, we have the beautiful Red Rock, and like you said, we've got Zion that's really close by, Bryce Canyon, Capitol Reef, the Grand Canyon's only a few hours, the north rim of it, Cedar Breaks, like you mentioned. We really love this area.
So from a marketing perspective, it makes it pretty easy to be able to showcase all that there is to offer and show what the student life could be like there, right?
Oh, absolutely. We really lean really heavily into the outdoor spaces because it's just beautiful, and there's something about being outside and being in nature that inherently relaxes the body, slows down, your heart rate, relieves some stress. So with the current pandemic and everything that's going on in the world, just going outside for a walk, letting students know that our campus is green. We've won the Arbor Day award several years in a row for just the greenery on campus. We've got hammocks everywhere. We really push the student life aspect of, getting outside. Even if you're not like a hardcore outdoor enthusiast, we've got the whole spectrum of things that people can do from, being a beginner to advanced. We have a great recreational program of taking students out trips that are led and guided by other student and peer tours who've been trained in the field. So yeah, the student life here is pretty spectacular. And we have other things too, like concerts, and we've got the party at the lake on the hill, and Paint the Town Red and Forever Red. Our colors are red and white, so we do lots of things with the title of red, if you hadn't picked that up yet, but it really is a great place.
Community is very supportive of the university. Every time we go down there, and we've been down there when Paint the Town Red, and everybody gets involved, and it's really, from a marketing and branding standpoint, it's nice to have such good support from the surrounding town, right? I mean, do you think that
Oh,
helps?
absolutely. We work really, really closely with the community. We actually have a vice president of community relations, and that's what she does all day, is making connections, forming relationships with the landlords to make sure that our students are really taken care of when they don't have on-campus housing, and the hotel owners, local restaurants, and just communicating with our community when big campus events are happening or when students are coming back from the summer break or Christmas break. And we do need their support because it is a small town and we're all interconnected.
Right. So tell me, what's the day in the life of the Director of Marketing Communications for Southern Utah University? What do you do all day?
Oh, that's a great question. Every day is different. It's really hard to put together. I try and put together a to-do list the day before. It never quite goes according to plan.
I completely understand that. Yeah, you've had to deal with different crises and things that are happening, because of the pandemic and, just a number of things that come up. And so, yeah, I can imagine how your day gets shifted around and covering all of the things that you do, right? I mean, you have a team that you lead.
Yeah.
Tell me about your team.
Yeah, of course. We've got a team. There's 9 of us in the marketing communication office. Everybody has a specialty, which is awesome. I mean, I work with just the most amazing group of people. They're so dedicated, hardworking, and motivated. And we've really, really come together during all of these challenging times. But we've got a creative director and a videographer and a photographer, digital marketing manager. We've got internal communications and public relations and a graphic designer, and our wonderful admin assistant who keeps us all on track. When you ask what the day in a life, I do a lot of meetings, a lot of strategy, and trying to put a roadmap together for the team. And when there are kind of bumps in the road, navigating those and working with the different sort of offices and departments that are involved with campus, trying to break down silos. As the marketing communication office, it's really our job to, internally communicate with campus going on, making sure that people have the information that they need to make the best choices for the university, and externally doing a lot of recruitment, reputation building, helping with retention matters, making sure that people have heard about Southern Utah University, knowing what we do best, what we're known for, making sure we get a great new freshman class onto campus, that a lot of brand development and making sure that people are, using the style guide, staying on brand. So that's sort of the high level.
What are some of the goals? What are you wanting to accomplish? What does success look like when you talk in terms of marketing for the university?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I kind of touched on this. Our 3 guiding principles for our office are the 3 R's: reputation, recruitment, and retention. So reputation is really that brand awareness, making sure that we're increasing our familiarity with the state and the surrounding kind of western region. We're really trying to branch into, we do a lot of recruitment in Las Vegas, Southern California, the Phoenix area, a little bit in Idaho, and we have a wonderful admissions and recruitment team. So what we're trying to do is work hand in hand with them, because they're the boots on the ground. They're the guys who are doing the open houses and the high school tours. And what we want to do is make sure that the students, the high school students, and even non-traditional students, have seen the SUU logo, have heard our name, know something about us, so that when our recruiters do a live event or doing in-person presentations, they don't already have the goal of doing a completely cold call or cold presentation.
I think now we have to have 11 to 13 different ways to reach people before they even acknowledge or make any kind of decision or even consideration. 11 to 13 times now. It used to be 5 to 7, but now we have, because
I remember when it was 5 to 7.
Yeah. Now, because we get so inundated kid, right? And so,
yeah, there's so much noise out there.
Yeah. So, okay, you said reputation, and then what was next?
So, and recruitment. The reputation and the recruitment really go hand in hand. Everything we do, we're trying to, think about the prospective student, and we've worked with Peppershock actually quite a bit in the past to help us put together some empathy maps and the buyer's journey and personas, and really get to know who's the ideal student at SUU. So tailoring a lot of our digital strategy and making sure that we can really be laser focused on our targeting, so we're not just spending money and it, bouncing off because it's not to the right person. So when you're talking about those 11, 13 touch points, I mean, we try and have a variety of a media mix, right? So digital ads and banner ads and being on social media, so having some organic reach there, over the top and video pre-roll, and even some traditional things like radio and print and some TV commercials. And when we do have the list from recruitment, we do a lot of targeted and direct messaging to that list of prospective high school students. And we do lots of content creation. So, emails and text messaging and videos, and just really trying to speak to what are their questions and what are their pain points? What do they want to know about college? What are they afraid of? And there's a ton of questions. Can I afford it? Do they have the program I want? Can I get a scholarship? Where am I going to live? What does student life look like? So trying to address those through a lot of different lenses, because even though we have kind of our ideal student, we know that we've got a broad range of students too. We've got the first generation students. We've got students who are from Southern Utah, so they're familiar with the area. We have students who are from Las Vegas, and Las Vegas and Cedar City are two very drastically different places, even though we're only about 2 hours away from each other. So just constantly, writing blog posts and, like I said, doing videos, doing some fun social media campaigns, trying to get ourselves in the shoes of that 16 to 18-year-old. That's our primary audience, but we are definitely branching out and getting a lot more online degrees. And so also trying to reach kind of the non-traditional working professionals, and they need a totally different set of information and marketing materials, and trying to deliver those things to them. And
so I love that you have 3 R's, in retention being the last one. I have raise 5.
Oh yeah.
So raise 5 R's. Do you want to hear those real quick, and then we'll talk about your last one? Okay. So rating, ranking, reviews, referrals, and then rewards. So
I love it.
Yeah, I obviously I love the letter R, so it goes nicely together. So your last R is retention. Tell me more about what you're doing to retain your students, because it's one thing to get them there, but now you got to keep them there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of forget about retention sometimes because we are so focused on the first two, but the retention piece is really where our internal communication specialist comes in. And it's working really, really closely with our student affairs team, because the retention is, right, like you said, like the current students, and even a little bit of an HR approach with our faculty and staff, and retaining the talented people that are working at SUU. But it's really that, like, communicating with them, like I mentioned earlier, of here's some important information you need to know, or here are upcoming events, doing some localized social media, like kind of contests for swag items.
This is where really making culture and branding come together. And so culture and branding, right?
Yeah.
Retention is basically how your culture, it continues to carry on. And if people like your culture and they feel like they fit in, right, then that's how you're able to do the retention part. And I love that you do these things to keep them there with the swag and the events. And one event in particular, I remember when we came to campus to shoot some video with you, was this amazing party that you had on the beach, right? Just as a kickoff. I love that.
Yeah.
You there.
Our Lake on the Hill party. We try and do that every year. And it is amazing. I mean, we have just this tiny little lake on a hill. But there's volleyball nets and grills for barbecue, and we get a DJ, and we have the snow cone machine. And but yeah, it's just a great way to invite the students, so that they can, mix and mingle. Because coming to college, yes, it's about the academics, but so much of it is about the social aspect and really like experiencing new things, making lifelong friends, connecting. And I'm glad you touched on culture, because SUU does have this sort of reputation of being very personalized throughout every interaction a student has. It's not just, the professor and the student, even though that's really critical, but everybody on staff really does try and get to know the students that they interact with. We put the students first. We try and remove barriers so that they can, just be successful and they can have a really well-rounded college education, because we recognize that it is more than just classrooms and books and homework and tests. College is a really defining moment for these young people.
Right. And they're away from their parents for the first time in some cases. And it's just transitioning. And you're right, campus life is critical to keeping them there and keeping them retained. And then, they finally get their reward. And that is to graduate and be a part of the community, right? Yeah.
And to graduate with, knowledge and skill set that prepare them for their future careers and really helps propel them and gives them that sort of competitive edge when they leave the nest, if you will.
Right. Well, and I tell my boys that it doesn't necessarily matter what degree you get. It's just the fact that you go and you apply yourself and you prove to yourself that you can accomplish something that from start to finish and end. And when I'm hiring people too, like I love to see that they have a college degree, not necessarily because it's the field that they wanted to be in, but the fact that they had that sense of accomplishment and could put themselves through that and have that discipline and determination to do it. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't necessarily use the degree that they went for, but they certainly can use the fact that they have a degree, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many soft skills that you learn through all of that, like you were mentioning. I mean, critical thinking and communication and problem solving and working with a team and leadership. And, I have a degree in theater, but now I'm in marketing and higher education.
Oh, it's a different kind of drama, right?
It is a different kind of drama, yeah.
I'm just teasing, but yeah. So I see the same thing. Like my dad got a degree in fisheries, and then he became a detective, right? So it's not the necessarily the skills that you learn or the field that you go into, but it's just that sense of accomplishment for sure. Yeah, I think it's really awesome that you get to do this. I feel like this job is meant for you because, like you said, the storytelling and all of the aspects. And of course, you have your brother who can help with video production and teaching marketing too. Now that's something that I'm going to start doing. And so now I have a question for you. When you first taught as an adjunct professor in marketing, what are some of the things that you did to make sure that the students were engaged? And, now you can teach me something about teaching.
Yeah, I love teaching, actually. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to get back into the classroom since having my son, just partly with, the demands of, the job, the full-time job, and then now being a full-time mom. Teaching had to kind of take a bit of a back burner. But that is very rewarding to see that light bulb moment go off for the students when you're trying to talk and explain a concept that maybe they're not familiar with, or just, introducing something new. Trying to keep them engaged. I always try, the setup was pretty similar every day, but, we'd have a reading, we'd have a group discussion, usually an assignment that would go along with that reading. But within the group discussion, I always tried to, just prepare some questions to get the conversation started and other examples. So I always came with some YouTube videos to play for the class of how to put that theory or concept into practice, showing, relevant, because it's marketing, so showing some relevant, new commercials or ads that different big brands were doing and asking the students to identify some of the theories that these, big national brands were using, or doing, how you do your Post-it note throwdown, anything that got them sort of their whole body, and this is part of the theater background, but the whole body involved. So if we could get up out of the table or out of our seats that are around the table and have move around the room and throw sticky notes up at various stations, or get them into smaller break conversations with a teammate that they don't, or a classmate that they don't interact with very often. Just trying to change up the structure of the class, even though the structure of the class was still about the dialogue and conversation. I never liked to lecture, so very rarely would I prepare like a PowerPoint in typical lecture style, but it was much more like, all right, you tell me what you took away from this and what you learned and where are the holes still, and let's talk about our experiences, and again, share stories, and it all be really relatable versus kind of a dry monotone, I'm going to just talk at you.
Well, unfortunately, the first class I'm teaching is an upper division, and it's about ad agency operations.
Oh, interesting.
It'll be, hopefully fairly easy for me to be able to put examples in place. But yeah, it's just, I think.
Are you doing it face-to-face or online?
Well, fortunately, we'll see. Right now, I will have a class on Mondays, and I'm supposed to be able to be on campus. But with
okay.
we're gonna play it by ear. We may have to do it all virtually. We'll see. But I hope that we can be in person. That would be my preference. At least for the first few classes, so we can get to know each other and do, like you said, the group work together and things. So, yeah, I think it'll be a new adventure for me. So thank you for sharing your adventure. Yeah, but
that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, Nikki, any other final thoughts or words of wisdom that you can share with our marketing listeners that might, pick up a few things from you, maybe some recommended reading or something that they can glean? I mean, this has been great. You always have a lot of wealth and wisdom to share, but any parting words that you might think of?
Well, just thank you for having me on the podcast. I was really honored to be asked. Yeah, I feel really fortunate and very blessed that I have kind of fallen into this work. I really love it. And when you were talking about teaching, one of the first things I do in my class is ask the students to define marketing. And they always start with sales, and they always talk about the used car salesman. And so being able to really shift that perception and help do a better job of like marketing, because sometimes I feel like marketing professionals or PR professionals do a great job of promoting what they do and helping the stereotype, but just the idea of like really is about storytelling and helping people solve problems and being a solution that people are looking for in the moment that they're looking for it, right? And every day is a new challenge, and people who are interested in the field, I just tell them to keep learning. Every day you can glean something new. Right now I'm reading This is Marketing by Seth Godin, which is really fascinating. He wrote it a few years ago. It's been sitting on my nightstand, and I have been able to find more time with being in quarantine.
Right.
Really get to know your company. What is it that the service you're offering, how you can be a resource to the people who are your consumers or potential consumers, and listening. That's the other big thing, is listening to their needs and wants. And they may not know what they're asking for, but if you know how to really truly kind of dissect the conversation, you can probably find an answer or solution and be that resource for them.
Oh, that's great advice for sure. Listening. It's always a thing that people just have to stop and listen. For sure.
Yeah, it's not always easy.
Right.
Lots of talking lately.
So true. Well, Nikki, thank you so much for being on the show and for being a great aunt to my boys and a sister to my husband.
Yeah, I miss your boys.
To my nephew, Connor, being a great mom to him too. So.
Oh, thanks. Hopefully we get to see each other soon.
I know. I hope so too. Yeah, we were supposed to go to Disneyland and do all these things and come different places and go, but maybe next time. All right. Yeah. Well, thanks, Nikki, and give my love to your family down there. And yeah, like you said, hopefully we'll get to see each other soon. And thank you to our listeners. If you are interested in learning more or want to follow along or see more podcasts, go to themarketingexpedition.com. It is a subscription site, and it's only $9.99 a month or $99 for the year. it's pandemic pricing time, so take advantage of that before we raise prices. Go to themarketingexpedition.com and we'll have you on our marketing expedition with us. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Find more online at peppershock.com. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.